I want you to imagine you're sitting at a fancy Italian restaurant having dinner with your boss. She's the CEO of a major Fortune 500 company. She's just informed you that you are to be named her successor, the next CEO of a major Fortune 500 company. You're excited. You've worked very hard for this opportunity. However, reality starts to set in. The company in particular has major challenges, not the least of which is the fact that it is primarily aligned with an aging technology and product that will be used less and less as the digital age evolves. To lead that company into the future, you are going to have to be incredibly thorough. And there's one story about this particular CEO that we've put yourself in their position that exemplifies that thoroughness based on the setting that we just talked about. We're going to talk about her and more on this episode of Boss Beat, a latte of leadership for those seeking to be and build better bosses in business. I'm Ben, and yes, I do like my bees. All right, let's dive in. The woman in particular that I'm speaking about is Ursula Burns. She was CEO at Xerox from 2009 until 2016 or 17. I forget exactly which, right around there. Now, in her time, she had exactly that challenge. Traditional print production company, right? Photocopiers was what they were most known for. She had to figure out how to bring that company into the digital age more than it had been already, right? How is it going to be positioned to be a future organization that is not totally associated with antiquated technology or outdated technology? Her thoroughness was revealed in several major categories and actions she took. First, strategic acquisitions. She had a goal of diversifying Xerox beyond traditional printing and document management. This was exemplified in the acquisition she oversaw of Affiliated Computer Services, ACS. That happened in 2010. That was part of her vision for transforming Xerox into more of a services-led company. She also saw the growing demand for business processes and IT outsourcing services and meticulously worked to integrate what ACS's capabilities were into the broader Xerox portfolio. Another major category was in restructuring the existing organization. To adapt to the digital age, Burns led a thorough restructuring of the company's operations, research, and development investments. She focused on streamlining processes, reducing costs, and investing research and development to drive innovation from within the organization, not always going outside it. Her efforts included a detailed review of Xerox product lines and services to identify areas where innovation could yield the most significant impact, and led to the development of new technologies and solutions in digital printing as well. Another major category for Ursula was diversity. She was thorough in her commitment to diversity and inclusion within Xerox. She was recognized for the value of the diverse perspective she brought to the organization and the innovation that it drove. Her efforts were reflected in Xerox's recognition as a top company for diversity and inclusion under her leadership. The second to last category that Ursula brought major thoroughness to the organization was in sustainability. Her leadership extended to sustainability efforts where she applied a thorough approach to making Xerox an environmentally responsible company. Burns championed sustainable business practices, including reducing the company's carbon footprint, implementing energy-efficient technologies, and promoting recycling and waste reduction initiatives. She has a great quote, which I can't remember exactly offhand, but basically she says, hey, look, sustainability is the right thing to do no matter what. The fact that it's also beneficial for business is like icing on the cake or a side benefit. Her quote's much better than the way I just said it, though. The last major category I want to highlight where Ursula exemplified the thoroughness principle of leadership was in mentoring. Burns brought her thorough approach to leadership development and mentoring across Xerox. She personally was very active in mentoring upcoming leaders, and her programs that she oversaw led to a strong leadership pipeline for the company. Now, each weekday when we have an episode of Boss Beat, we cover a core principle. Today is thoroughness. We also cover some of the core attributes that support each of those principles, usually about 3, and today we're going to cover 3 under thoroughness. Specifically, first, being a systems thinker. Ursula was clearly a systems thinker in her role at Xerox, as she strategized the bigger picture, sustainability, and mentoring programs for leadership pipelines. Now, for you and your organization and your role at being and building better bosses, what does this mean for you? Make sure you're not firing off all kinds of crazy ideas, not always chasing the shiny silver object, the latest and greatest thing or fad. Instead, have systems and solutions. You have to think bigger, processes, tools, capabilities. That's what systems thinking is. It's also an example of why many founders don't always scale well with their companies that they begin. They're great at the beginning when everything is kind of crazy and hectic, but as it grows and you have to become more of a systems thinker, many founders don't make that transition well into CEO. The second topic or attribute that we want to talk about today is awareness. When we speak of awareness, we speak of both external and internal. Ursula's external awareness was evident in the way she saw the industry evolving and the necessity for bringing more of a services-based approach into the company. Her personal or internal self-awareness was evident in her leadership development pipeline and in her own challenges that she struggled with. For you, make sure that you are both externally aware of your industry trends and internally aware of your own strengths and weaknesses. The last major attribute that supports the thoroughness principle we're going to talk about today is visibility. I'm not talking about magazine covers. I'm not talking about ego-driven recognition like that, awards. Instead, quite the opposite. As a servant leader, you have to look at visibility from the perspective of those you serve. How aware are they of you? How present are you for those you serve? You must be present and accessible to those you serve with your leadership. If you don't, if you're absent, if you're behind the scenes and people don't know you from those you serve perspective, then you're doing them a disservice. You do need to be present and accessible for your people as a core attribute of the principle of thoroughness. All right. As you move forward from today and you begin to look at opportunities to be and build better bosses in your business, we love to give you a motivational quote to think about too. We'll go back to Ursula today. She has a great quote where she says, "As I've progressed in my career, I've come to appreciate and really value the other attributes that define a company's success beyond the P&L or profit and loss statement. These include great leadership, long-term financial growth, ethical business practices, evolving business strategies, sound governance, powerful brands, and value-based decision-making." As you seek to be and build better bosses in your organization, two great questions to ask yourself. What attributes beyond the P&L are you not valuing enough with your time and focus from you and your team? And of course, the classic follow-up question we have here, how will you change that moving forward? Each episode of Boss Beat, we cover one of the 7 core principles of the acronym model of servant leadership that are populating on your screen now. Selflessness, empathy, resolve, virtuousness, authenticity, nonpartisanship, and thoroughness. Why do we use the acronym model of servant leadership? Because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of great leadership books out there that you can learn from. The problem is most of them are based on a single person's perspective, one individual's lived experience. Ours is based on 2 decades of studying, consolidating, and condensing those models into the 7 most common, most regularly championed core principles. Those 7 core principles, so that you know the advice and the insights, the stories and the examples you get are tried and true, practical and applicable to your workplace. If you like this sort of content,